Welcome to another little knife review. I've added a few more, so I'm going to just go through my little collection here. I have all my little things that I like in my life. You can see all my little knives here, and I've got nice little leather pouches, slip cases for each of them. So let's go through what I've got and what I've added recently. We'll start with the old classic, and you can see in the background some of my pens that I like. This is, I know I said I'm going to do knives, but can't help but share this one. This is my beautiful Edison Pearl in tortoise lucite, ebonite section, gold nib. Got the stub, not my favorite. I should have got a fine nib, but I got the stub, so I don't use this a lot. But it's a very expensive pen, so I'm not going to use it a lot anyway because I'm clumsy. And this tortoise lucite can break. You can see it doesn't even have ink in it. But wow, look at that. It's just beautiful. And this is a nice cheap Lamy. I use this more often because it's pretty much unbreakable. And beautiful color on that too. And I've got a few other things going on. The leather little slip cases I added recently for my knives, just to protect them. And I like the look and the feel of that in my pocket. I've got two sources for those. I've got Cajun Leather Works. I found that on Etsy, but he has his own website, and he made these ones that have the little engraving on it. And he also made this for me as well, which is for my lighter. I've got a nice Pipe Master IM Corona, a little pipe tool, slides in and out. Love this lighter. And to protect it, he made me this case. Beautiful soft leather, I like it. And it just slips right in. It's a little big perhaps, but it's nice. I don't carry it around all the time, so it's okay. All right, knives. Well, let's start with this. This is a classic. Every knife collector should probably get one of these at some time or another. Maybe not, shouldn't say that, but I like them. Hated them at first, but really grew to like them after a while, so I picked one up. This is my small Sebenza, and it is in Bocote, I don't know how you say the wood. Very nice wood. Love this knife. I think it's S35VN yeah, it is. And I've had this for about 10, 12 years, something like that. They're very expensive now. I don't know if it's a good value anymore. This was expensive when I got it, but a new one. I saw a large Sebenza with the wood inlay, bird's eye maple, I think it was, something like that. It was like $1,000 Canadian. That's kind of crazy to me. This was not near that price, but still expensive. But I use this, you can see perhaps. It's got some scratches on the blade, certainly on the handle, or sorry, the little belt clip. It's got some wear and tear. It's a user. I like this knife. But my current job as a teacher, I don't carry this obviously every day. You can't walk around to school with a knife in your pocket like that. A little crazy. Unless you live in the States, perhaps. That's okay. Canada, not so much. I'll show you a knife in a bit that if I were to take to work, I think it would be okay. It's quite small. You can see it on the end there. We'll get to that later. It's probably my favorite, and I'll save that. Next over is slipcase. I've had this forever. It came with another knife, a sway back jack. I can't remember the maker. It was a custom one. I flipped that knife, but I kept the case, and it fit pretty well. Some of you might not agree because it sticks out a little here, but I think it fits nicely, the knife in here. And this is bone handle, nice shield. It's basically a sod buster, but it is a nut buster because this was made by Carrie Hampton. Don't know if you can see that. He doesn't make knives anymore. I'm not going to try and zoom in. This is just an iPhone. I don't have all that fancy stuff. Although I did make a little title entry thing into that. That's a bit of work. I don't like that. All you guys who make these crazy videos, good for you. That seems like a lot of work. I just want to show some knives. D2 steel. Get this really laser sharp. You can shave with this. It's very nice. Love the handle material, the color, the jigging gives you a nice grip. Like this kind of cream color in here and the dark. This side is a little darker. It's not really book-ended well, like they don't match perfectly, but I don't care. I like it. And that's a really nice knife. No half stop, but smooth as butter. Well-centered blade. Like that knife. Don't carry that much too, because it's possibly my most expensive one, just because Kerry Hampton, they were not cheap to begin with, and since he doesn't make knives anymore, I'm not sure what the market is for these. Sebenzas are still expensive, but you know, I don't buy them because they're expensive. I just like the knives. Let's go on to this one. I actually got this leather case for another knife, but it ended up fitting the knife that's in here better, so I put it in here. Love, I don't know if you can really see it in this lighting, but there's purple stitching with this brown leather. Looks beautiful. If I were in daylight, it would look better. I've got this yellow little lamp going, but I love the knife that's in here too. I really wanted a Barlow, and I looked around. I was looking at a case Barlow, but didn't really like the case ones, what I saw. And so doing a bit of research, I came across, as you can see, the logo there. Obviously, this is a Boker Barlow. Love this knife. Long finger pull there for the fingernail. I like that. I think it goes with the style of this knife. You've got the nice teardrop with the long bolster. Nice half stop. Very nice knife. The wood is Grenadil, which is like it's an African blackwood, kind of like ebony, but not ebony. This is a wood actually that they use a lot in musical instruments, oboes, things like that, woodwinds. It's a very hard wood. Beautiful. You can't really see it. Again, I don't have the best camera stuff. I don't care. But the grain is just gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful wood. Very well made. Nothing sticks out. The pins are perfect, flush. The back here, the brass liners and the spring, it's just perfectly smooth. Everything's great. Only little niggle on this one would be when you close her up. I don't know if you'll be able to see this too well. Pretty much dead center there, right? Like, that's good. But it does, if you push it, just sit over to that one side. So it doesn't sit to the other side, but this side it just pulls over. That said, that doesn't bother me too much. I like this knife. This is one of my favorites too. They're all my favorites. They're all great. This is like, I don't know, gentleman's. You could really, you know, like a nice gentleman's knife to carry. Beautiful wood, nice coloring. Not too big and aggressive and scary. Just a nice traditional pocket knife. I like these traditional slip joints. And it slips in here pretty nicely and disappears. Love this leather. Cajun Leather Works. Great stuff. In fact, I bought this and this, and I got this for my lighter, like I said earlier, and he also includes up to 3 letters for engraving, so I got my Dr. J stamped in there. he threw this small one in for free, which I didn't order, and it perfectly fit my last little knife, which is my favorite knife, I think. So that was really just worked out well. All my knives now have little houses. So that's one. I've saved this one. Let's do this one now. This leather is different. It's almost like it's not Cajun. This is from another leather worker I found on Etsy. Owl something, I can't remember. They're in Ukraine. I thought they were in the States, but this came from the Ukraine. Took a long time to get to Canada, but it arrived safely, and I would order from them again. Very nice. Yellow thread, and this is like a blackish blue, purpley almost. It's really nice color in the sun. And this one fit perfectly. The knife in here was supposed to go in here. I ordered this one for this knife, but when it came, I found it fit in here better. And this knife is nice and snug in here. It doesn't come out, so I put it in this one. This is a case, and I wanted a traditional case design, like one of the more popular ones. The trapper was a bit too big. I like the smaller knife, so I got the mini trapper. And looking around, I found this one, and I had to jump on it. It's just love it. It's buffalo horn. The handles are buffalo horn. They jig them. Usually buffalo horn, they don't jig. They leave it nice and smooth, but Case jig these, and the jigging's okay. I think it looks like a very traditional old-timey knife. You could see this in your grandfather's pocket. The bolsters have the fluting, these lines here. Jigging on the other side. Really nice. The other thing I liked about this traditional shape is this particular one. The 2-blade trapper comes with a Wharncliffe blade. I'll show you that in a minute. You can see the Wharncliffe right here. Also notice that the nail nick is punched through. You can see right through there. Some people don't like that. I like it. I think it gives it a little character. So you got the buffalo horn, the punch through nail nick, and why I like this as well. And you can see it on here perhaps. I don't know if you can read that or not. USA, BH for buffalo horn. 207, so 2-bladed 7 model, which is the mini trapper, I believe. I think I'm reading that right. And the W means this blade is the Wharncliffe. And then one of the reasons I got it is, you can see at the bottom there, S35VN, not what Case usually uses for their steel. I like the S35VN. You know, you got that all those super steels, Magna Cut and the others. So you don't see a lot of S35VN too much anymore, I don't think, but really nice. And I don't know what you would call the finish on this blade. It's almost like a stone washed or something. It's not shiny by any means. But I like it. This looks like something you pulled out of your grandfather's closet, and he's had this for like 60 years. It just looks great. Fit and finish on a Case, you know, is hit or miss for those of you who have Case knives. This one is the same. The pins are good. They're perfectly smooth. The bolsters are good. Nothing catches. The shield isn't great. You can't really see it, but it's not perfectly put in there. There's a little play in the one side. It looks a little sloppy. And I don't know if you can make out this little line here. I thought this was just a nice, like a vein or some detail in the buffalo horn, but I think it's actually a crack. It kind of wraps around the corner. I may or may not send that off to Pennsylvania, but I don't really want to. I'm okay. I don't mistreat my knives. They just kind of sit in my pocket. I use them. So if that becomes an issue, I'll send it off, and they should be able to fix that up for free, hopefully. It was there when I bought it, but we'll see. Nice brass liners, contrasting with the black and the stainless steel springs. There's a little gaps, here and there. It's not perfectly put together, but really nice. I like this knife. It's got a clip point blade. Also 35VN, obviously. And the Wharncliffe. Lovely. I like little machines like this. Tools, knives. You can see a couple of my watches in the background. Fountain pens. I think a lot of people who are into these things like the same things. If you like knives, you tend to like fountain pens and watches. I don't know why. For me, it's the machinery, the tool, the small details and workmanship. I like that. Love this knife. Slips right in there. Disappears. Okay, the next one. This was interesting. This is kind of a impulse buy. I bought this within minutes of seeing it, which I usually don't do. I just think about things, but before I take it out, I had one before and I lost it. I had a Case sway back jack, but it fell out of my pocket when I was trying to walk on my hands like a handstand, and I was a little, I was at a party, let's just say that, and it fell out of my pocket in the grass and I never found it again. The sway back jacks are usually small, nice little, like kind of like this, like gentleman knives. They slip in your pocket and disappear. This is a sway back jack, but it's much larger. This is a big knife. But I couldn't pass up the value. This is really good value. This is Rosecraft Blades. I think it's Clinch River sway back jack. In there, call it red bourbon, I think it is. Bone. This is bone. As you can see, is more orange. This side's got more detail, little grain that you can see in the bone, and really beautiful coloring. It's like a sunset or like clouds on Jupiter. Just beautiful. Rosecraft Rosebud Shield. What I liked about this was the reviews spoke a lot to the quality, and I like the shape, and so I just jumped on it, and wow, if you can make this out, it is pretty much absolutely perfect. Like, the only thing people don't like about Rosecraft Blades is that they are an American company, but their knives are produced out of China, and that doesn't bother me. Whatever factory they hired or contracted is doing an amazing job on the quality. They're hitting what Rosecraft wanted them to do. Absolutely perfect. Everything is flush and smooth. Got a little lanyard hole. I wouldn't use a lanyard on a knife like this, but that doesn't bother me too much. But the blade is like perfectly centered. Beautiful opening. And so you get that, there's that nice sway, that sway back. And what I liked about the sway back here is it's also kind of a modern take. There's this big choil right here. Works good for your finger to sit in. But this isn't a knife you're gonna carry around at school. I'm a teacher, like I said. This is crazy. This would be in my backyard helping me prune or trim little branches and things in my backyard. But just so well made. I can't go on enough about it. I like the swedge here. You can kind of see that there, and just really aggressive looking, but also a classic design. Beautifully made. I love the bone. Look at that color. Highly recommend one of these. And the value is ridiculous. This is like, I'm in Canada, so I think with exchange rate and everything, I think I paid maybe $100, but in America they retail like 60, 70 bucks. That's a great deal. And I will say, of any knife I've ever bought, this was by far the sharpest. This thing came out of the box hair popping sharp. I think I was spending a few days there just like shaving the hair on my arms, just testing how sharp it was. It looked like I had mange for a while there, just playing with how sharp. Love it. The leather was also Cajun Leather Works, little stamp, and blue on this kind of coffee brown. I don't know what kind of brown you call that, but very nice, and it fits very snugly and big. That's a good sized little pocket knife. And I think last but not least, like I said, my little favorite, that the leather came as a freebie and it just happened to fit, is another case. And I think everybody should own one of these. It is, of course, the Peanut. not because it looks like a peanut, but it's the size. And this is a case peanut in Sambar Stag. I love Stag. As you can see, I love natural materials. And this is probably as close to as perfect a case you can get. I was super impressed with this one. Everything is just perfect. The pins are really well placed and even a little countersunk, especially that one there. Great texture in the Stag, and that larger brass pin is really just buried in there nicely. You're not having that stick out. The shield is really well laid perfectly, no little gaps or anything around it. And I forgot to show on the buffalo horn mini trapper, the blades are actually pretty well centered for a case. Like case, you know, you're hit or miss on some of these things. You can see it's off a bit. And the peanut's about the same, but you know, darn close. Looks a little off there, just the way the angle is, but it's actually not too bad. It does sit aloft to the side, but what a beautiful little knife. I love Stag. If I were to take one of my knives to school, it would be this little tiny one. I'm opening letters and packages and things I get. You know, it's very small little blade. Everybody should have a case peanut. Brass liners again. Everything is just really nice. So that's my little knife family with their nice little sleeping bags. Got my pens, my watches. Life is good. Hope you enjoy.